we have Corteva up against Krone now. We'll see how this one goes. I think a lot of people are going to have their money on Corteva for this one.
Yeah, 77-26. You were really close.
26. Oh, one
but
number
fair
out.
enough. You make a good point, though. I mean, it definitely you have to ban both telehandlers if they're going to be banned. Otherwise, it's no point. We've seen some interesting bans today too, which is very. It's been kind of weird. Some of the bans we've seen. I don't know. Maybe these teams know each other better than we know them and what they like to use. But there's definitely been some, not so much in this round, but in the previous games, we've seen some weird equipment being banned. So what do you think about this one? I mean, Krone looked a bit shaky in the first game against Astragon. They kind of cleaned it up a bit and won 2 in a row to advance. Corteva, though, like, they looked comfortable against Kalwana, but Kalwana played a pretty good game too, so I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, this is the thing here. Kalwana were outplayed by Corteva. There was nothing wrong with Kawana's gameplay. And this is the thing. I think if Krone here play a good, solid game, as they did in that last game against Astragon, I think that they can win this. I think they can take this. Alternatively, if Corteva come back and play like they were earlier in the season, I think that Krone could very easily find themselves up against an opponent who is hard to beat. So it's really depends on what these teams bring to this,
right?
And I think it's going to be an interesting one to see how it develops.
Well, first bales were 124 to 122, so pretty darn close there. Taz, I hope you have a good rest of your day, buddy. Thanks for being here with us. Hello to everyone on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube that's following along with the FSL Season 3 Championship group stages here today. Been a great weekend so far. We still have several more hours to come today, and then we'll be back early December, just a few weeks' time. At least that's the goal, and we're aiming to have an in-person event for the quarterfinals and onward at some point in Switzerland in early December. So looking forward to that. That's what's at stake here for these teams, trying to advance into the finals. And just getting out of this group stages into the finals is a huge boost in prize money for these teams, even if they don't go any further than that. So there is quite a bit at stake. Over 100,000 euros total prize pool across the World Championships. But even just for the teams that got here to the group stages, if they don't go any further, they've done themselves a good bit of justice and won themselves a little bit of prize money. So really, really fun to see, what's been at stake this season. And Trelleborg has more than enough gaming chairs now to go around after all their tournament wins. They've got enough, like, if they had won that last tournament, which Bednar took off, they would have, their second alternate would have been getting a new gaming chair. Like, that's how many tournaments they won. So
it's an impressive amount, a very impressive amount.
Having a look at Jackaroo and MarschellMaiden for Krone.
And Rablix and Richi.
I believe, isn't it the guys from Krone who are behind Creative Mesh and the Straw Harvest mod for Farming Simulator? Yeah, so pretty cool. There's overlap in several different areas in the Farming Simulator League. You have employees of some of the brands that play for that brand's esport team. You have modders from the mod community that people should be familiar with, like the players on Krone. And then you also have some real-life farmers that take part in the Farming Simulator League. So there's a lot of cool crossover from these teams, and it's really fun to see. A mixture of ages, too, which is really cool to see, because you've got, players in their teens, players in their 30s, and so on. So it's really cool to see, because that's kind of unique when it comes to esports. A lot of the shooter esports are a young man's game. But really, anyone has a chance in the Farming Simulator League, which is cool.
Kind of reflects the entire Farming Simulator community. I mean, I know from players to content creators to viewers to FSL, every single aspect of Farm Sim is just this massive age range.
Yeah, it's a game really for all ages. You know, it's maybe not like as easy for kids, like really small kids to learn, even though it is a family-friendly game, just due to the complex nature. But it does still exist.
My 6-year-old plays it.
That's awesome. Have you had to teach him, or has he picked up?
And he plays it.
Has he picked up on most of it on his own, or has he kind of watched you and learned?
This isn't actually me forcing on him on it. It's on my Xbox because I had it to play multiplayer with people on Xbox, and yeah, he picks it up every so often, gets in there, does a bit of harvest, does a bit of tractor driving. He found it on. I think he found it on his tablet as well, and was playing the mobile version of it as well. He quite, he likes it.
Cool. I like to hear that.
And he enjoys playing it. So
yeah, we're definitely working on ways to make it a little bit more accessible for newcomers and beginners. So, hopefully we'll have something to share on that soon. And but we're aware, because I mean, it's easy enough to learn at the beginning, but once you start getting into the more complex stuff too, it requires a little bit of patience, a little bit of effort on your part to try to learn how to do things. So
it's one of the reasons why, for a lot of my initial focus on FS22, I want to help people to get into the game and learn it and do a lot of stuff this is how you do this, and this is
right,
and this is a guide to the how to do the cows and things. So I'm actually really excited to be looking at that aspect, and it is one of those.
Oh, he can't get the.
He can't pick up the silos closed.
At least he has plenty of time, but he's dumping grain there too, briefly.
Yeah, but it's at a 1.4.
Wow. Yeah, and Corteva have more to take over now. Krone are going to have to just wait. So MarschellMaiden is going to have to kill some time over here. Looks like he might grab the tractor and leave the horse for a moment and get back out to the field.
Did he get that in the dying seconds of that, though?
There's still 20 seconds to go for Krone to get it. But Krone haven't picked it up yet. And then they did. Oh, great timing. Great timing.
That is just mean.
Rude.
Kudos to Krone. Absolute kudos to Krone. Go and score some points while. Oh no, they haven't.
Wow. Okay. Well, Corteva, though, they do have the advantage still, so they're going to score some bales here. That belt's going super slow.
Why Nico wasn't loading these up earlier, I don't know. He should have had them on the grain the moment that was on that conveyor, the moment that closed. But
there goes the first one, just
massive.
about to go in. 27 points for each of these. Now the silo is now open for Krone. So it's going to be 24, maybe 23 by the time that one goes in. There's 23. So a good bit of scoring there, but they could have maximized that even more if they'd brought him in a bit earlier. And now Krone are going to have a slight advantage for a moment. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Corteva have some grain ready to deliver again. That's actually how you got back into Farm Sim and found Mr. CDP Felden Seasons tutorials. Cool. That was great timing, wasn't it, Aaron Kens? Yeah, lovely. We had a question about, can I download the map? This is the Farming Simulator League client. It is a free DLC for Farming Simulator 19 on PC. So the website link is in chat. Click on that. Go register an account. You'll get a download code. Download it. Install it. And then if it's installed and will be running, you can see it in the mod hub listed under DLC. There's information on the website as well under the media tab about how to run it in training mode.
Why didn't that command work?
And there goes a bale off
it's
for
because
Krone.
it's been in a minute ago. I was playing FS15 last week.
Yeah, I was there for that moment. That moment of nostalgia. I was just chatting with you. Are you still going to do 17?
Yes, so 17 on Tuesday and then the retrospective on 19 on Wednesday.
Oh, so you are going to do a
FS19.
retrospective on what's your retrospective on 19 going to be, since you've really still been playing it?
So all the DLCs.
Gotcha.
But no mods.
Okay, that's cool.
And playing base game maps. So
you should cheekily do a retrospective of 22, like on Saturday after, like the second day of early access.
I don't know. FS22 retrospective, no mods. And all the DLC, if you're willing to send it over to me for Saturday,
like
awesome.
I've had it for one day. It's technically old to me now.
Yeah, but as I say, if you know, retrospectives normally include all the DLC. So if you want to send me all the DLC over, so I can do the retrospective on Saturday, that'd be awesome.
I don't even know what the DLC is yet. So man, you'd be getting access before I even knew. So that'd be super special.
I'd be surprised if half of it's even been coded yet.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. All right, so the super drop was bale withering. I don't see either team going for that. We've got 3.5, or just slightly less to go. Corteva in the lead with the bale advantage, but Krone have a 2.1 to 1.9 advantage in the multiplier right now. So, and that's probably going to stay that way. So let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, Krone definitely in the better position at the moment.
Yeah, they're trailing, but with that, 2 extra points per bale. Although they've got
can't do this though.
They've got to get them to stay on the belt though. Yeah. Oh, it's counter. Meanwhile, for Krone, I was about to say, be careful there, because Corteva are about to get a multiplier.
I am not sure that was on purpose.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. There was one on the belt. Honestly, Nico should have pushed a couple into the bottom and gotten those bonus points, to be honest, because I don't think Krone were ready to react to it. It was just a little bit of luck. Like you said, came down to just timing of one on the belt.
Krone wouldn't have got the points if that first bale hadn't fallen off. Oh, and STR is making some very basic mistakes here.
Look at this gap closing now, though, with under 2 minutes to go, 527 to 479, and it's just 2 points extra per bale. It's starting to add up. And I'm thinking if these teams, Corteva have 2 extra bales right now, which is the only thing helping them. And look, 2 more fall off for STR. You've got to get all of these on. Like there's no excuses now if you don't win, because there's so many bales have been falling off. And it's only yourselves to blame.
It's allowing Corteva to pull out a little bit every time he does that. Every time he misses getting those bales on their right, it just gives... It just shrinks that advantage that he has, because he loses the time to get them on. And gives Corteva the chance to get extra bales in.
It's a 114-point lead for Corteva. And I think that despite the advantage for Krone and the multiplier, they just don't have enough extra bales in comparison to make up this gap.
Yeah, there is just an STR again.
STR has to make sure from here on out that all of these are going in and don't fall off. If any fall off now, that's definitely a nail in the coffin for this first of the best of 3 for Krone. There's just not enough bales, though, and not enough time.
And I'm... Oh, this is getting close, though.
774 to 730.
774 to 730. 784, 803, 822. Every time Krone looks like they're getting a little bit closer, there's just this flurry of bales that come in for
Corteva have this one.
And it's
I think that like the points that Corteva scored when they had the bale multiplier early on in this really has paid off. 909. Oh, they had, let's look at the sheer amount of bales as well. Like 7 extra bales made up the difference. It'd be interesting to see, especially because MarschellMaiden on Krone has gone with Archimedes. So that would make me think that he is going to deliver grain, maybe even harvest at the beginning, and then we'll also be stacking bales towards the end. Whereas they've gone with Archimedes on the Valtra without the stacker for Corteva. So just slight differing strategies based on which player with the equipment
slightly
picked.
Too slow on the ideal. The ideal goes to Krone. And Krone gets the John Deere baler as well. Krone seem to like the John Deere baler, interestingly. They don't tend to go for much else. That one is... So looking at the John Deere baler, it actually matches the Kuhn baler, the one that shares its model quite nicely.
Right.
The difference is that coming off the back of it, the bales are stackable, and it has a slightly faster work speed than the Kuhn. It does have a 200 litre larger fill volume though, so it does take slightly more to create a bale from it. It's not a bad baler though, and you can kind of see why they use it.
Not a bad baler, but at the same time, you just lost the previous game because of your lack of bales in comparison to Corteva. So something to think about if it happens again. With these Deutsch Fahr tractors too, the first bale delivery is a little bit more difficult because you got to be a little bit more careful with how you approach up under the belt because this tractor is just so much larger.
Interestingly enough, I don't quite understand why they didn't go for the Fed baler, although seeing now Rablix coming in with his Deutsch Fahr tractor, there is the reason. It has been grabbed by Rablix. Although
what a big advantage for Krone, though.
Slower first bale.
21 points.
That is not a good
morning,
start
Obi.
for Corteva this game.
Hello, Aaron Kens says, Aaron Kens, you've already gotten some answers from the chat because our chat is amazing. Thanks, everyone in chat, for helping out with the answers. Does the FSL make changes throughout the season to affect the meta, or is it quite stable all the way through? Pretty stable. Changes have been made. There's been a few patches throughout the season. The most recent patch, I think, was in August. So only like 2 or 3 patches overall. But yeah, the transport company team perk has been pretty much the strategy to go with, the go-to strategy for a while in official tournaments. It's just hard for teams that don't use it to match teams that do use it when it comes down to matching skill for skill when you get into the top level of the competition where teams are evenly matched.
I just learned something. I didn't know what meta stood for.
Oh yeah,
it's the most effective tactic available. It literally is a term from MMOs. Fair enough. I've been seeing it a lot recently, not just because Facebook decides to use it, but in general, you know. But yeah, it is a proper tactical term. That's pretty awesome.
The winner of this, if Corteva win this, they're through to the quarterfinals, and they won't have to play again until early December. If Krone win this, we're going to the third of the best of 3. Krone have a load in the grain cart ready to take to the silo. Corteva a little bit behind on this, but they're trying to get some grain loaded up as well.
And there is more grain, or there was more grain for... No, there is more grain at the moment for Krone, just slightly.
What are you doing there, Jackaroo?
I think he had it out as he was pulling into the silo, and
It's not
as
automatic
a result,
though. It's not automatic. You have to unload it yourself.
He did do that on purpose.
Yeah, it had to have been like he was like, oh, let's dump a little bit on the go, or maybe he thought, let's park it on this side, and then, oh no, I actually need to go over here. I don't really know, but risky because it could have dumped some of that out.
And Corteva now tipping their first load of grain.
I think Krone are going to leave theirs there as we're having a look at a tractor. Vulture just kind of hanging out on the pod zone where it was left at the beginning of the round. Okay. Corteva need to score some bales, but they don't have any pressed is the problem. They have a 2.9 to 1.1 advantage in the multiplier at the moment. I believe Krone are going to bring the harvesters in and do the whole grain chain at the silo.
Yep. That does seem to be the tactic that they tend to use.
Listen to the lovely birds chirping. We're just having a look at the Deutschfahrer there. Moments of the FSL like that seem peaceful, but then you get to the end of a round and all chaos ensues.
Obionix, welcome along. To balance all the perks and bonuses and stats and whatnot. They're constantly updating or trying to rebalance things. Yeah, and it is the thing. I believe that there is a post game meeting after every FSL where basically they go what worked, what didn't. You know, how is there anything that needs adjusting? All of that kind of thing. And so if there is something that needs adjusting, that then comes out in a patch. Between then and the next tournament, sort of a month later normally.
20 seconds away from the 8th minute drops. This could flip the tide of the whole matchup here. I think that's why Krone kind of wait to deliver grain. They're hoping for that. I mean, look at this. They have double the grain at the moment. The problem is that's only because Corteva has already delivered 30,000 of theirs. But if they can get, there it is, grain multiplier. Get it actually,
this.
Or do you get silo closed and deliver? That's a tough call between the two. Because if you get grain multiplier, the other team might get silo closed anyways, and then you're in trouble. It's a tough call here.
Well, no, actually, Corteva are going to close the silo. Corteva absolutely going to close the silo. It makes no difference now to Krone.
Krone need to wait
the silo
until the end.
They will wait till the last minute.
Yeah, but the problem with that is Jackaroo is now wasting time sitting here. Good bit of disruption by Corteva. They couldn't afford to not go for silo close there. With the advantage that they have already. But now they need to get bales in this next, 70 seconds.
How long is this?
Yeah, so they're going to have about 20 seconds.
There is 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's not a lot of time in between.
But it will give them a quick boost. So, again, this is where Archimedes is useful.
But look.
This is the point at which...
Oh, okay. I thought we were looking at Corteva. Corteva need to bring bales in now.
Yeah,
they need to score bales.
Corteva needs to be scoring bales.
30 points per at the moment they can get.
Krone need to use this time, this 50-odd seconds they have left before their silo reopens, to get as many bales back as possible, ready to be scoring as much as possible when they get back.
I was thinking about that.
They have a huge hill to climb now.
I was thinking about that yesterday, Felden. What about not like a manual attach for everyone, but what if it was like a debuff for your opponents or something? Maybe even like a debuff team perk instead of and all of a sudden your opponents have to get out.
You have to select.
So imagine if like you mess up a drive-by baling and you have to go like out of the tractor, detach the baler, get back in the tractor, go around, push it in, come back, hop out of the tractor, attach it again.
I love the idea actually of automatic attachment being a perk.
They are not going to get all of that delivered with the multiplier.
Oh, they won't get it all delivered in that 20 seconds, but they will get some of it in that 20 seconds.
Could have been a lot better for them, though. Definitely a good play by Corteva going with silo close. So kind of slowing down what the advantage could have been for Krone. But no grain left for Corteva, so I think that there's probably enough here that Krone are going to have an advantage in the points, but they had that last round too, and they fell off so far behind in bales, which they're trailing by 5 in bales at the moment, and Corteva have already scored 3 bales at this point. So
and here we go. So how big is this advantage? Oh, wow.
It's a big advantage.
Tell me Corteva
not quite
more
enough for 2.4, but
that is horrible.
Yeah, they might be better off even with a bale disadvantage. Krone might be, they are better off than they were last round, so they might be able to pull this off even with less bales. Trailing currently by 97 points. So STR,
they have bales here ready to.
STR needs to do better with the stacking than the first round, and he's already lost one there that's going to fall off.
4 minutes. 240 to 126. And Richi has a full bale stacker.
Super drops out there on the map now. It's Lord Baylor. So that would score 2 bales automatically for the red team. I think it's 2 bales for the blue team as well, it looks like, off in the distance. Don't know if either team bothers with this, though, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't think either team has problems getting bales back at the moment.
Look at it, 1 point lead for Krone, a 10-point advantage in bales now for Corteva, though. So it's really the same story. The only thing I think that's working better in Krone's favor is the multiplier is even higher in their advantage. So instead of 2 points extra per bale, it's going 6 points extra. So that is quite a significant difference. Ooh, what happened to Nico there? Was that to counter?
I think he was trying to stop a combo, maybe?
That or there was a lag spike and he crashed into the barn. I don't know. But some wild driving either way. STR's playing the waiting game now because he only has one bale at the barn. So smart move, because if he had put that in, he wouldn't have had any left to counter with. And Corteva have a decent amount here. So they're at 6 of 10. So this would be enough for the combo. So STR for Krone now has to time this right. And Nico is actually going to put these into the bottom, although one fell off and he needs both of them. That's going to be a counter easily.
Oh, and it's countered very nicely.
Those two falling off cost him. If those two stay on, he gets all 4 in at the time. You're talking about a bale-tastic for Corteva instead of a bale-tastic counter for Krone.
And Krone needed that.
Everything's going Krone's way so far. A bale just fell off for Corteva. It's looking like Krone has a very good chance of forcing a 3rd game in the best of 3 here. This is the most unsmooth we've seen Corteva play all day.
This is.
And they've got a couple bales now there in the way of the barn, too. They got bales scattered all about.
STR now just piling these bales on. And I'm wondering if Corteva are going to wait for the combo to try and counter it. No, in fact, they have reset it. So, no, they are not trying to play
I still don't know what to expect here. I mean, 16 bales to 16. Krone have had moments where SCR has been dropping these bales off the belt, so that can't happen. If Krone gets all these bales delivered, they win.
Yeah. This is
1 minute and some change to go. 5:22 to 5:11. Now 5:57, a lead for Krone.
I would be
6:03
amazed.
now.
if Krone don't win this with this much of an advantage in the multiplayer. I mean, this is just such a huge multiplier advantage.
3 extra bales at the moment for Corteva, but they've got to get them in. And they got to get them in via the top, or they don't have a chance. Now Corteva slightly into the lead briefly. Now Krone back in the lead. 30 seconds to go. 672 to 658. That's going to change several more times before it's done.
Way too close.
20-point lead for Corteva now.
This level.
3-point lead for Krone. They're going to put some bales in the bottom here, Corteva, and maybe go for a combo, but it's going to get reset. They just ran out of time. So putting those into the bottom might cost them. Oh, Corteva in the lead, but here comes a bale into the bottom.
Oh, 5 seconds.
And there it is.
For Corteva, it's going to Krone, but that...
Krone got all their bales in, which was important. They had to there. So we're going to the best of 3.
That is not a good game for Krone, though. That is 30 points, less than 30 points difference when they had an extra 6 points for every bale.
Look at that, 9 less bales though, and 8 less into the top. That's crazy. And what's at stake here is one of these teams will get their qualification to the quarterfinals confirmed early here today. The loser will drop into the loser's bracket since it is double elimination, and they'll have to win one more set of best of 3. But enjoy the gameplay without our eyeballs on it as you see it when it comes across.
Yep, definitely hear a combine starting up at this point. So somebody's in a combine. I hear some baling going on. There we go. Rablix.
Lovely. So 2 ideals for Krone. Looks like the case and an ideal for Corteva. First bale's coming in. Rablix slightly ahead. 129. Good first bale. Should be pretty good for Krone as well.
Well, 124. So 5-point difference. Actually, just thinking about that last game, I think Corteva had a fair deficit on the bales as well, didn't they? I think
you mean the first bale?
The first bale.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I think you might be right. Corteva's strength so far today has definitely been just the sheer amount of bales that they can press. Yeah. And that, I mean, bales score points in the Farming Simulator League. So the more you get of them, the better off you'll be. And they've done so many that they've been able to counteract 2 disadvantages in multipliers pretty well. I mean, they didn't win that last one, but it was a lot closer than it should have been.
Thank you, Fielding. Oh, dear Lord. I hear things happening. I think I was more specific than that. I said that there was a harvester harvesting. I didn't know who was harvesting, but I could hear a harvester.
Yeah, the ghost view is cool.
It is.
It allows you to, especially at the end of the round with like everyone at their barns delivering bales and it coming down against really close teams, you know, to those final moments. It's very useful.
It was one of those things we didn't have in season 2 that it came along in season 3 and we went, wow, that is absolutely awesome. We can actually, you know, we can see what's going on across the whole thing.
It's better than like a split screen would be, in my opinion, because you can see everything like clearly at a glance really well. So it's really nice to see, and it's a cool way as well. Like if you look, like each team actually has a mirrored, reverse mirrored set of areas and fields for their gameplay in the Farming Simulator League client. But when you put the ghost mode on, it's like they're playing right on the same area almost because everything matches up right. So really nifty. Hello, Le Farmer
Bonjour,
from France.
Le Farmer.
Yeah, see, you said it better. Oh, he did it. Nico,
lying,
a little
it's very
parkour. And
Oh,
STR, meanwhile, fell into the
STR
moat.
is stuck in the moat.
Oh, they're getting out now.
But he has
just in
the grain
time.
multiplier.
That was 1 second. He had
Was it?
1
Oh,
second
man.
there. If he had gotten stuck in the moat for just a second longer, they would have missed out on
and
the grain
were
multiplier.
already there to drop the grain. That's what's brilliant
Goodness,
about it.
that could have been disastrous early for Krone.
That could have been awful.
Ooh. Man,
And
just in time. This is
Now,
just going to cancel each
both
other out.
of them
here.
have completely full. Is this going to go back to 2.0 to 2.0?
I think so. Yeah, probably.
Right.
Looks like it. Yep.
Yep.
Pretty darn even.
So,
That could have been disastrous for Corona. Like they dodged a bullet there early in this one. That could have been almost. I don't want to say game over in the 12th minute, but that could have set them back way too far.
That would have been. I think game over is fair. You know.
Yeah.
They historically haven't created as many bales as Corteva. And as a result, they are.
Yeah, the only thing that's really been saving them is the multiplier. So if they would have missed out on that and fallen behind on the multiplier and bales, it could have been disastrous for sure.
They are producing more grain at the moment. They have more grain, but it's going to be interesting. They are 2 bales up at the moment. They have the bale advantage and they have a grain advantage. No, in fact, they no longer have the grain advantage. How have Corteva reversed that?
I think it's because Krone are like out running around with other pieces of equipment. They've left their baler for a bit to deliver the grain. They've hopped out of one harvester, I think, and so they've got to get back to it. 9 minutes to go, and Krone really need to make sure, because it's not guaranteed in 55 seconds they're getting grain multiplier again. In fact, we've already seen it, so it's not going to happen again.
It's not going to happen.
So they can't bet on having the advantage in the multiplier this time. They need to get bales pressed.
And now with Corteva having got a harvester down, they are again ahead. But they are coming up to 30,000 litres of grain, which means that is a full grain, full overloader at that point. Both teams now with 30,000 litres of grain.
Don't forget, everyone, there is a giveaway going on during the stream today. I believe it is pinned on, at least on the Farming Simulator League Esports Facebook.
What's his Hell Maiden
doing? It's pinned
doing?
on YouTube as well. And the link is in chat on Twitch. Ooh, who dumped a little bit of grain there. The giveaway is for Farming Simulator 22. Maybe you've heard of it.
He is just too close to that trailer.
Goodness. Speed up and bridges lowered are our 8th minute drops. So if teams are coming into the barn, they'll probably pick one of those up. Otherwise, not the most useful.
Blind comedy. No, no. And now I hear a combine harvester. I have no idea who's in it.
And now
And
I
that
hear
sounds
a
like a
combine
baler.
harvester.
Nobody wants to be singing that here. And Krone picked up speed up.
Okay.
While Corteva are emptying. And Corteva now with a bale advantage. They did have one extra bale for a moment there.
So far, Krone's looking okay, but they need to pay attention. They can't fall behind.
That would be an upset. Krone actually have a bale advantage. They have, so it's 15 bales each, but Krone have delivered an extra bale.
Yep.
Extra 2 bales, in fact.
They're delivering grain now as well, and Corteva have delivered all of theirs. Is there
And
enough, though? There's not quite enough to get it to 2.1, so it's going to be 2-2. So it's even more important now for Krone to match Corteva bale for bale, because if they fall behind by a couple bales, they're going out here because they've been relying on the multiplier so far, and they can't rely on that this game.
And so far,
Amanda.
Krone are matching this.
Corteva in the lead, but there goes another bale falling off. And yeah, there's 6 minutes to go, but every second counts. SDR has had a lot of bales fall off the belt in these matches today. Richi out with the Anderson loader, being pulled by the Deutschfar. 5.5 to go. 6-point lead briefly there for Corteva. Now it's a lead for Krone. We are streaming on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Tyler, on Facebook, you asked which other platforms we're streaming on. We're on 2 channels on Facebook. The Farming Simulator channel, the Farming Simulator League Esports channel. We're on twitch.tv/Giant Software. We're also on twitch.tv/Giant Software DE for the German language broadcast with Steven. And I'm drawing a blank now for some reason. It's Klaas, the head of the FSL. That's who it is this tournament. And then we're also on YouTube as well on the FSL Esports YouTube channel. All right. Maybe the super drop can change the outcome of this one, the fortunes of the 2 teams. I would wait to unload that in case it was bottom boost if I was Richi at the 4th minute. Bringing those in. Because if it's bottom boost, it's not, though. And it's multiplier switch, which is useless. so sadly,
this is basically...
That's good news for Krone, really.
Bale for bale right now. Yeah, good news for Krone.
But look at the bale difference now, though. Corteva are in the lead, and they have 4 extra bales. Where does this come from? I don't know, but they're doing it. Goodness.
How have Corteva managed to put 4 extra bales out?
It must be where they're laying the straw down, and it must be just easier to gather. Because look at, Krone are now baling up the straw that is nearest to the barn, which is a good thing late in a round. But the fact that they're 8 bales behind is just mind-blowing. I don't understand how Corteva do it, but they're doing it so well.
But they've got that fence. So I'm just going to have a look at the stats for these 2 balers. So the Fendt 1290 XD baler, that requires 300 horsepower that they have, goes 24 miles an hour, and has a fill volume of 3,600 liters. Now, the only difference between that and the John Deere that is being used by Krone is that the John Deere requires an extra 200 liters to make a bale, which could explain the difference.
Krone are into the lead, but 7 extra bales for Corteva to make up that difference. So Fowler, you said, what are the scores so far? Well, basically, one of these 2 teams is about to advance to the quarterfinals next month. The other one will go into the losers bracket for Game 5, and we'll play the winner of Kalwana versus Astragon. That's what's happened so far in Group C here. We still have Group D to follow once Group C is completed today. And I think, unless there's mistakes here or someone gets combo points, I think Corteva are going to take this, Alex.
I would agree. And do you know what? If I was any team facing Corteva later along on this,
dump Archimedes and ban that baler.
Yeah, absolutely. Corteva, that would be so disruptive against Corteva. It's ridiculous.
Right.
This front baler, them grabbing this, is the reason why Corteva are doing so well and creating so many extra bales. Because it is purely the 200 fewer liters it takes to create a bale. They're just creating massive numbers of bales as a result.
Yeah.
Because they're good at creating
And
bales.
out of nowhere, though, like, well, he's picking like all those up at the same time somehow. Out of nowhere, though, because we're looking at this match and we're like, yeah, okay, Krone are actually looking pretty good. They're hanging right with them with the bale advantage. The 4th minute rolls around. Super drop is multiplier switch, which was useless. But then I look down at the bottom left and I'm like, wait, where did all these bales come from? It's absolutely insane, the amount of bales that Corteva press and also the ones that they press late on and around. It really flips the advantage into their favor. I mean, they managed to win a game where Krone had the multiplier advantage and then come within combo points, a counter where they just dropped 2 bales of winning when Krone had a huge multiplier advantage. So as long as they get the bales, they're going to be hard to beat, and they're close to breaking 900 this time around with 10 seconds to go. And it looks like we're going to have the top 3 teams in the Season 3 standings confirmed for the quarterfinals as Rablix is flipped over at the end. And it is Corteva Agriscience who moves on to the quarterfinals next month. They join Trelleborg and LSA Esports, Valtra, and now we have Corteva in there as well. And it's just absolutely crazy. And Bednar was the one I missed from yesterday.